My friend, I'm sure that this has happened to you before, that you got home and all you wanted to do was watch something nice on Netflix. And then you made yourself some popcorn, you got a nice drink, you sat on the couch, you switched it on, and then you started trying to find something. And then it's been 5, 10, 15 minutes and you still have not found something interesting. And you started feeling fatigued before actually even starting to watch something, right? And as a consequence of this fatigue, you start thinking that nothing is good, that all of the options are bad. And this could not be further from the truth. The problem is that you reach something which is a very common problem with consumers, which is called information overload. Before I explain what information overload is, let's just situate, okay? So if we think of all of the stages of consumers' decision-making process, we're talking about the second stage. So the first one is need recognition. I recognize the need. In this case, that you wanted to watch something nice for your pleasure or because you wanted to learn something. And then you are on the second stage, which is information search. So information search, we have two types. The first one is what we call internal information search, which is when you remember things that others have recommended, maybe that you've read something or you saw something else. If that's not enough, you engage in something called external information search, when you actively search for information. When you actively search for information, there is a very common problem that can happen, which is when we face too much information, which is exactly the case of Netflix. So information overload, in a nutshell, it's like when the amount of information that we're exposed to surpasses our capacity to process it. So as humans, we have a fairly limited cognitive capacity. We cannot process all of the information in the world. And whenever we have a product or a service or an experience that has a lot of attributes, like in the case of films, where you're looking for who are the actors, how long it takes, when it was made, and so on. And then after looking for 10 films or 10 series, it's a lot of information to process. And the more options that you evaluate, the higher is the evaluation cost. And the consequence of this fatigue is a sense of confusion, of dissatisfaction. We become less confident also with the choices that we make. For a long time in marketing, we thought that, if you give consumers a lot of options, we're actually helping them. But actually what happens is that when we give too many options, we're also, in essence, we're giving too much information for them to process. As a consequence, they're going to reach information overload. So what companies have to do is to help consumers in their second stage of the decision-making process on external search to trying to limit that amount of information that they have to process. Because if it's too much, they're going to get confused and then they're going to be dissatisfied. They're going to be less confident with their choice that they have. And if they are in a store, for example, if they're evaluating, I don't know, a laptop or a car, something with a lot of attributes, it's a great likelihood they're going to leave the store. If it's a website, that they're going to leave the website. So especially online, one of the main solutions that is often used, which is also the case of Netflix, is the use of recommender systems. So recommender systems are systems that evaluate data, your own data, and data from other consumers that have a similar profile. So these processes are called data mining and collaborative filtering, which is the same thing that like Amazon uses when you click on a book and it says people who've bought this book have also bought that book. That's collaborative filtering. Or for example, when YouTube with that right sidebar, when you click on a video, it recommends you immediately other videos, that you could potentially like. Netflix does the same thing. So Netflix is actually a great example because they have a very vast catalog. So there's so many films and series and they always have new releases. So that means that the catalog is only ever increasing. If it's only ever increasing and it's already hard for us to make decisions, it's only going to get worse. So what do? Implement very sophisticated recommender systems to try and help you. So whenever you go on Netflix and they've got, those top 10 films or series that are being watched in the location where you're at, or for example, films that are based on previous choices that you've watched, or it reminds you of what you started watching but you haven't finished. All of those are forms of recommender systems, and recommender systems is nothing more, nothing less than a form of personalization. Now, personalization is great because it reduces the cognitive effort. However, it doesn't reduce all of the effort. We're still going to need to evaluate the options that it gives us. So it gives us a little bit of comfort because we don't have to process that large of amount of information, but we still need to process some of it. And even despite extreme personalization and extreme use of recommender systems, we can still reach information overload. And actually, another interesting solution that they implemented, I don't know if you noticed this, it's been a while already, is they inserted a button called play me something. Play me something is like essentially get me out of this hole. Just play me something. Like, I cannot look at this thing anymore. But it's important to reflect on what happens when we use something like play me something, because essentially what we're doing is we're delegating to the system our decision, because we are in the decision making process, right? But by using the recommender system, we're delegating and say, you decide, right? So we're delegating our choice to the system as a trade-off to reduce the cognitive effort that we would need to employ in that process. And here's the catch, because the more that we use recommender systems or any other form of personalization, we're also reducing our agency. In other words, we're reducing our control over the process. So it's like we're giving up our personal discovery where we could independently be finding solutions and giving it to a system. And especially now that we're in the ages of AI and AI agents, these personalizations, extreme personalizations, we're only going to get even more sophisticated, because pretty much everything that we do is generating data. And there's so much cross transfer of data from apps to apps, from systems to systems, that we're not even aware. Essentially, the systems are going to become smarter and we'll take more agency in the process. And then there's something important for us to reflect, which is, from one side, we're getting like a short-term relief, where it's like, all right, I've reached information overload. It's really exhausting, but now the system is really helping me. So in a sense, by giving the system agency, I am reducing the effort, and that's giving me, a short-term relief. On the other hand, in the long term, we're really narrowing our options, or our options become much more dictated by systems rather than by ourselves. In other words, we start losing our cognitive sovereignty. And this is something which, for me at least, it worries me quite a lot. But anyway, so to conclude, an important takeaway beyond understanding what information overload is, which is when the amount of information that we're trying to process exceeds our capacity to process it, and that, information overload leads us to a higher sense of dissatisfaction, confusion, post-purchase dissatisfaction, less confidence with the choice that we made. But beyond this, it's also important for us to understand that online systems, like for example, streaming services, not just Netflix, okay, all of the others for music and so on, they're not just fighting for our attention, but they're fighting for our attention and then influencing how we make decisions, our decision-making process. So hopefully, my dear friend, by understanding what information overload is and how personalization acts to help us, and the pros and the cons, you understand a little bit more what happens, again, in the second stage of consumers' decision-making, which is external information search. And I hope, my dear friend, that by understanding information overload and how personalization works and how platforms try to help us on our decision-making process, what the pros and the cons are. And as always in my videos, I like to finish by recommending music and albums. Don't listen to just single tracks, my dear friend. Listen to albums. Yeah, and my album recommendation this time is Led Zeppelin 4. I love Led Zeppelin. I've actually seen Page and Plant live in 1996 in Atlanta. And there's a documentary on Netflix called Becoming Led Zeppelin. It's a wonderful documentary that talks about the story of the band. I hope you listen to Led Zeppelin 4. That's the album that has Stairway to Heaven, their classic song. But the entire album is wonderful. So listen to the entire album. Watch Becoming Led Zeppelin on Netflix. I'm sure you're going to enjoy. And if you have other friends that are taking marketing courses, make sure to send this video to them. I hope it's helpful. It would be nice if you subscribed. The majority of people watching the videos are not subscribed in the channel. So it would be nice if you did. And I'll see you in the next video where I'm going to explain another marketing concept, tell you more stories, and recommend you more music. Have a wonderful day, my friend.